In order to develop software, you're going to need a program called a text editor. There are a number of choices, but one of the most popular ones is Visual Studio Code, or VS Code. It's developed and maintained by Microsoft, and it's available free of charge. Let's start out by downloading and installing it. Go to their website at code.visualstudio.com, the download section. It's available for all the major operating systems, Windows, Linux, and Mac. I happen to be on a Mac, so I'll click that. It's going to download it. It takes just a few seconds. Then click on it to unzip it. Now just drag it into the Applications folder and double click on it. It's installed and ready to start using. Oh, it's downloaded from the internet, so the first time you have to click open on it. There you go. Once downloaded, Visual Studio can be used as is right out of the box, but you'll probably want to make at least some changes to the configuration. So let's go through some of those. One thing you can change is the color theme. Go to Code, Preferences, Color Theme. The default is dark, and that's actually the most popular one. There are a number of other choices. I actually prefer light, but we'll go ahead and leave it at dark since it seems to be the most popular. Another thing you can do is change the settings. Let's go to Code, Preferences, Settings. And you can change the font size. I actually like the default of 12. It's kind of small, but you can make it bigger if you prefer. Tab size defaults to 4. I find that much too big. 2 is very common, especially for web and JavaScript developers. So change that to 2. Another change is word wrap. The default is off, so if you have a really long line, it's just going to go right off the page. So I turn word wrap on. Next thing is the mini map. There's kind of a map of all your code to the right. I don't like it. I find it annoying, so I turn that off. Let's search for it. Yeah, it's enabled, so just uncheck that. If you prefer it, you can leave it checked. Another thing I like to do is add rulers. So this will create a vertical line based on the number of characters you select to the right of your code, so you can see how many characters your code is. Now this one we're going to have to set directly in the settings file. So we'll just put it right here. I like to use 80 characters and 100 and just save it. The next thing we'll do is add some extensions. To add extensions, click on this icon right here. And we can search for ones. There's 2 we're going to install. A very popular one with web developers is called Live Server, and that will enable you to start a web server right from Visual Studio Code, and it does hot reloading, so anytime you make a change to your code and save it, it will restart the server, and you'll see that in your web page directly. Click Install. Next thing I like to install is JavaScript ES6 code snippets. Click Install. That adds some snippets, which we'll talk about in a minute, that are ES6 specific. Okay, let's leave it at that for now. Okay, let's start using Visual Studio Code in some simple web development projects. I'll create a folder called Web Project, and I'll put it in the desktop just for convenience. Now, to open a project, all you have to do is just drag it into your Visual Studio Code. You can do it from Finder as well. There's nothing in it. You can add a folder within the project or a file. Let's create a file called index.html, and we'll create another one called my.js, JavaScript file. So this will list all the files in your project and folders. If you have a lot in there, you can just type in Command P and type in the name of the file, and it'll open it, take you right there. Very useful if you've got many files in there. Okay, let's start with the index. A very useful feature in Visual Studio Code is something called Snippets. there are snippets for HTML built into VS Code as well as JavaScript. A very useful one is just a pound sign, and you follow it with the tab key, and this will create a skeleton HTML document. Then you can do a similar thing with tags. Let's do a heading H1 tag. Just enter the tag name and hit tab, and it'll create the opening and closing tags there. You can do something similar with other tags like paragraph. Just hit tab. You can also add class names in there by putting the tag, a period, and then the class name. You can do something similar with IDs. You use the pound sign instead of a period and hit tab. There we go. Now let's use the live server extension that we installed. Just right click right in the page and click on open with live server. And there we go. This is a local server, and it's going to show our HTML document right here. It does hot reloading like I mentioned, so if you type something in and save it, there it is. It makes the change right away for you. Another useful thing for HTML is if you have a tag that is not closed. To close it, all you have to do is do the closing bracket and the / and it will close it for you. If you need some lorem ipsum text, just type in lorem and tab. There we go. Okay, let's take a look at some JavaScript snippets. These are built-in snippets. If E is an if-else statement, hit tab. For each, tab, give you a for each statement. For in is a for in loop, etc. One thing to notice is some of these have multiple options. So if has this right here, not sure what it is, but the if statement is one below it. So you have to either click on it or use the down arrow and then hit enter or tab. And some of these are that way. And we installed a plugin for JavaScript ES6 code snippets. So these are some other snippets that are not built directly into Visual Studio Code. IMP tab will do a module import. Anyway, I encourage you to go through all these snippets. They're quite useful. Also, you can create your own snippets. Go to Code, Preferences, User Snippets, and just enter a snippet. I'll just copy and paste this here. So what this does is gives you a console log. The key combination is CL tab, and it'll type in console log, but it will also type in the name of the file, which is useful if you've got many files open and you want to add multiple logs so you know what file it comes from. Save it. Okay, next thing we'll talk about is our keyboard shortcuts. Let's go back to this file. These are just standard shortcut command keys like Command X to cut, Command V to paste, Command F for finding something. A useful one is to copy this whole line, Command Alt down arrow, we'll copy it below it. To add a comment, just Command /, hit it again to uncomment. In JavaScript, you've got block comments for multiple lines. Shift Alt A will create a block comment. Hit it again to uncomment that. Now you can add your own keyboard shortcuts or modify existing ones. Briefly, I'll go through how to make some modifications. Go to the Code menu, Preferences, Keyboard Shortcuts, and just enter the commands that you want to change. Some ones that I prefer to change. I'm a heavy user of Microsoft Office, so I like to use the same commands. So where they differ here, I like to change them. So redo, I'd like to change that from Shift Command Z to Command Y. Another one I like to change is replace. I like to use Command H. Hit enter to save. Finally, the block comment. I don't like that combination that they have in here. I prefer Command Shift / Enter. Okay, these are all up to you, whatever changes you want to make. These are just ones I like to make. So now if I hit Command H, we'll see find and replace. Let's delete this line, Command Z to undo, and Command Y to redo. Okay, that's it. You're up and running.